So this is, I was talking about waiting. You're talking about what, being faster? That sounds better than just waiting around.
Yes, being faster. Well, maybe being faster. I'm not sure. So I'm still on the fence. Anyway, so virtual environments. I use virtual environments. Do you use virtual environments?
I definitely, anytime I have to install if pip install has to be typed, there's a virtual environment involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I use it for everything. Even if I've got a machine like a build machine that really only has one Python environment and I'm only using it for one thing, I still set up a virtual environment. It's just always. Um, so this I've been since the Python 3 started. So Python 3 packaged venv with Python, so you can create virtual environments just with the built-in venv package, and I've been using that. Now, before that was in there, and if you were in Python 2 land, you needed to use the pip installable virtualenv package. Now, it is still updated and um, it is still being maintained. And so I noticed this was a conversation that started on Twitter this morning that the virtual environment was still around, and it was maybe you should use that. So I went and checked it out again, the documentation for it, and it says virtualenv is a tool to create isolated Python environments. We know this since Python 3.3. I guess a subset of has been integrated into the standard library. Yep, the venv module does not offer all the features of this library. Just to name some of the prominent ones, venv is slower, and it's not extendable, and it cannot create environments with multiple Python versions, and you can't update it with pip, and it doesn't have a programmatic API. Now, most of that I just really don't care about,
Right.
but the slower part I do care about. So I gave it a shot this morning. I used the time function on the command line, just to time a couple commands, created virtual environments with both venv and virtualenv. And yeah, the venv takes a little over 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds to finish, whereas the virtualenv version takes like quite a bit under half a second. So that's a lot. And I mean, if I'm doing a lot of virtual environments, I might care. Now, one of the things I was like coming back and forth, why would I use venv then if virtualenv is faster? Well, you have to pip install virtualenv, and so I'll have to remember to do that. I don't think I'll start teaching people this because it's just one more complication thing, and a couple of seconds isn't that big of a deal. And I still like the prompt, the dash dash prompt. virtualenv supports that too, but it handles it different. It doesn't wrap your prompt in parentheses, and maybe that's just a nicety, but I kind of like it. So I'm not sure. I'm on the fence as to whether I should switch or use it. But
To me, excuse me, to me, it feels like I'm going to stick with venv. I mean, for a long time, I saw virtual env as just like it's legacy stuff. It's there because and before Python 3.3, you didn't have venv built in, so you're going to need it. And a lot of the tutorials talked about it and whatnot. We recently covered it about why it got a big update and a lot of the things that it does that are nice, and the speed is cool. Maybe it wouldn't be that hard to adopt the dash dash prompt dot feature, right? It's open source, right? It could get a PR that does that.
yeah,
That would be pretty cool, actually. It probably should, just so it's consistent. But to me, the idea of having another thing I've got to install somewhere, probably into my user profiles Python packages, so that then I can then create virtual environments, so that I can then install things over into that area. It's fine for me, but as somebody who does courses and teaching and other stuff like presentations, like it just seems like, okay, you just lost how many people out of that,
yeah,
right? Like, and what is the value? Like you say, it's 2 seconds. One of the things, what I would like to see, and it would be really nice, maybe that would even push me over the edge, is it drives me crazy that I create a new virtual environment from the latest version of Python that I can possibly get on the planet, and it tells me that pip is out of date.
Now, virtual environment didn't do that for me this morning. So it created a virtual environment with the newest pip in it.
Ooh, okay. See, now that's pretty nice because it's annoying to say, okay, what you do is create this virtual environment, then you pip install this thing. Oh, look, there's always going to be a warning. So every single time what you're going to do is you're going to fix that warning by doing this. Right. So if it grabs the latest, that's actually kind of cool now that I think of it. I have a alias in my shell, my startup, that I just type venv, and it does the Python -m venv, and then it does an upgrade of pip. And first it activates it, and then it does an upgrade of pip and setup tools, all in like 4 characters. So that's what I've been doing these days.
Yeah, I've got like a little snippet in my profile also that I'm using. Funny enough, I shared it recently on Twitter, just my like 2-line snippet that I used. And then people kept on telling me to use all these other tools. Oh, you could just use this. I'm like, it's not just use this. It's just a 2-line snippet in a profile. It's not a big deal.
I don't even have to know what it is. I just type these 3 characters. I'm good. Why are you bothering me? Right? Why is this such a big deal? I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway.
What I would really like to see, and none of these address, is that something like kind of like Node.js, where it just has the virtual environment at the top level, and it just walks up until it finds the virtual environment and maybe complains if it doesn't, or it does something like that, right? Like something to the effect where you say, here, I know that this is a feature, I forgot what it's called. It's like the local Python or something like that, but it's not just built into Python. So if I just went into that directory and tried to run it, it's not going to find and use that version of Python, you know?
Oh, well, the dir-env, there's a few,
Yes.
there are a few packages that do that. So, and that's one of the things that people are directing me to is dir-env.
dir-env is cool. We should talk about it as a separate item later because it's worth it. But yeah, dir-env is cool.
Yeah, we should talk about that sometime.
Yeah. Don't use up all our items all in one show, man. Come on.
Okay.
Thank you for watching this segment of the Python Bytes podcast. This video was made during the recording of the full episode. Visit pythonbytes.fm and get the whole story. Subscribe to the podcast and get the entire episode delivered to your phone. Please support our work by taking one of the courses at pythonbytes.fm/courses or learning PyTest with Brian's book at pythonbytes.fm/PyTest. Finally, visit our sponsor shown on the screen here. Visit the link on the screen and get the special offer for Python Bytes and YouTube listeners. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.